Hello. Good evening, everybody. So tonight I am going to be working on chapter 22, page 8 of Age of Night. And as you can see, I've got all my panels laid out. I've already put in my perspective grids because doing that is boring and kind of difficult to watch on camera. I have to pull way out because it takes up a lot of space to get a wide perspective grid like that. So I generally try to get that done before we start. And just out of frame, I have my thumbnails and my script so that I know what I'm doing. So starting in the first panel, I've got several word balloons. I usually like to put those in first, just so that I know to be drawing around them. And that's why it helps to not only have the thumbnails, but the script there, because then I can look at how big they need to be. Make sure I'm actually in frame here. That might also be good. I also have my husband lurking out of frame. Say hi, honey.
Do I have to?
They probably can't hear you very well. It's a unidirectional mic, so
No.
you're probably a distant echo at best.
Echo.
All right, there's a horse in the middle of this scene, so I'm just going to put a vaguely horse-shaped blob here because I don't know what a horse looks like without looking at a picture of one on Google, because that's how drawing is. What does a horse look like? I sure don't know. All right, vaguely horse-shaped blob. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad, but it's just a placeholder. I'll look up an actual image of a horse later when I'm past this kind of roughing in stage. There's one person in the scene, and then there's another one somewhere over here who is considerably taller than this one. Okay, he's not quite proportioned right, so we're gonna fix that a little bit. His head's too big. Better to try to catch those types of errors now than let them get to a further stage and then have more stuff to redo because you made them all wonky. All right, what else do we have in this scene? This is supposed to be a horse stable, so we'll put kind of like a stall right here, edge of a stall. Maybe some other tack on the wall there. Pile of hay. And this poor sad horse blob. Some other buildings outside. They're just kind of going to be blocks, vague blocks for right now. Alright, red balloon up here. No, wait, that's a little too big. Oh no, return of the horse blob. That word balloon's probably going to want to scoot. I don't really like it being right on top of the horse's head. I'm not sure why I thumbnailed it that way. That seems goofy. So we're going to scooch that around because I'm realizing that that's not a good setup. Word balloon. Horsey. Oh, vaguely horse-shaped blob. Person. Yeah, big blobby horsey. It's a horse blob.
It's not bad.
It's a horse tato.
I mean, for not having a horse quoting you, it's not bad.
Horse tato. That over a little bit. All right. That's more like what I'm looking for. There we go. Scoot this over so it's actually in frame. That might be helpful. All right, I'm gonna just turn this slightly so that I'm not totally messing this up. drawing some of the figure out of frame just so that I know where everything that's in frame is supposed to go. Oh, how do I want that arm to go? Yeah, like that. That's an old animation trick that sometimes works out really well to get the expressiveness that you want, is to just draw the hand where you want it, making the gesture that you want it, and then draw the arm connected to it. Sometimes if you try to draw the whole arm first, you end up with a much stiffer, less expressive gesture than if you put the hand in the dramatic pose that you wanted and work backwards from there. All right, let's see. There's a couple more word balloons down here. I see people watching. Oh, hello. Somebody commented. What does that say? Skull Diamond 94. Thanks. I appreciate it. Most of the composition, just, I don't know if you were watching earlier, but the composition I work out in the thumbnails, which is good because they're easy to, when you completely mess up, just scribble out and work on figuring it out again rather than having it all on your final comic page and having to erase and redo a million times. Not that I don't still noodle around with it some, because sometimes things don't translate super well from being the teeny tiny thumbnails into putting them on the page. Doing the thumbnails real small like that, you get a lot of proportion errors where it's like it looks fine when it's little, and then when you try doing it at size, you're like, oh wait, that actually does not look like that. I was drawing it wrong. And I will have to adjust my composition accordingly. Oops, I'm down in the frame. Let's scoot up a little bit. Yeah. I apologize. My paper is rubbing up against the microphone. It's probably making a weird noise. Character running up, trying to help. Do thumbnails on index cards before applying the Bristol paper. Oh, cool. Yeah, I do everything on a couple of 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. And then I have them, like I have the little thumbnail already pre-proportioned thumbnail comic pages printed out on that piece of paper, and I keep it in a binder opposite my script so that I can be reading my script on one side and have my thumbnails on the other. And I keep them all in the binder so that hopefully I don't lose any of them until I take them out, just to pin the couple that I need on the board while I'm working on the Bristol. So it's a system I find works pretty well for me in keeping myself organized, because if I don't do everything in my power to keep myself organized, I will lose vital things at every opportunity. You know it's true. Never. Never do that. Got this little alleyway here between a couple of houses. Or buildings, they're not necessarily houses, just some kind of building. Checking my thumbnails to make sure I'm doing this figure the way I'm supposed to. All right. There's an itty bitty figure there, almost kind of difficult to see with my perspective grid around him. So it's supposed to be a fairly dim alleyway. And one more speech bubble down here. That probably does not need to be anywhere near that big, considering it's just one word. And riffing in this character's face. Ear should be over there. There we go. All right, so 20 minutes, and I have the whole page roughed out. So thankfully there wasn't an awful lot of background and architectural stuff and all that stuff that's really time consuming in the roughing in. Although I still need to figure out what a horse looks like. So I'm going to sharpen my pencil and look up what a horse looks like. I know plenty of people who draw lots of horses and are just like, what? How come your horse looks wrong? It's like, well, because I'm not, I draw mostly people. I don't draw that many horses. It's just not as much of a thing that I do. And there is definitely an art to finding actually the reference that you want. Because if you just search horse, you're just going to get so much stuff that is not necessarily relevant. But I've got something, well, looks fairly close to what I want for a horse. See if I can find one that's a little more side to. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. That's almost exactly the angle of horse that I want. Perfect. Was that an ant I just saw crawling somewhere, or was that a spider? There was a spider on the desk earlier. I was trying to answer emails, and this big old spider just came waltzing out across the desk. I was like,
Send everything flying.
Please no. Do not want. All right. This is a very muscular, well-defined horse that I found, which I guess is good if you're trying to figure out how to draw a horse. It's going to be like a super jacked horse now. He's still probably going to, to horse people, he's still probably going to look wrong, but at least he'll look like a horse to most people who are not super horse people. You know? Big old horse butt. Let's reduce some of the noise going on there. All these little sketchy lines. Yep, that's a horse butt.
But I mean, really, if it were not for Google, this would have been like a trip to the library. Right there, just to draw the backside of a horse. Oh, now this is an interesting question. This is also, I end up having to spend a lot of time looking up my own comic, in that I don't remember which horse was Zeke's. Like all three of them, Balthazar, Zeke, and Odd, each had a horse, and they were all colored differently. They all had different colors, and I can't remember what color horse I gave Zeke. Yes, it's a black and white comic, but they had like colors that you could tell that they were differently colored or patterned in black and white. I want to say Balthazar had the black horse, of course. Like one of them had a dapple gray, and one of them had one with like a dark mane. I think I don't remember. That was so freaking long ago. I can't even tell you. Like that. The last time I had to draw their horses was literally years ago now. Because no, it was in volume 2. It was in volume 2. Right after when they leave Amenia, they give them horses. So yeah, that was a long time ago. Because volume 2 came out when I was pregnant with our now almost 4-year-old. So tells you how long ago I had to do that.
There's that.
What was that noise? What did I knock over? All right, where's the horsey's knees? There's the horsey's knees, right about there. Yeah, horse people are probably still looking at this and going, what is this poor monstrosity you have drawn? But hopefully people who are not super into horses will be like, yeah, it's a horse. As opposed to, yeah, this is a potato. All right, what's the horse's shoulder look like? All right, of course, the horse in my reference image is not wearing any tack other than just a halter, so I'm gonna have to kind of improvise that on here. So I don't really have the back of his head. All right, found another image that, while it's from the other side, is message retracted. Slippy said something he didn't mean to, apparently. It's okay. I am totally here to chat, and not just about how horses are hard to draw. All right, there's something vaguely the backside of a horse's head shaped.
those weird. I mean, horses do have bigger ears than you think, but those were like rabbit ears I drew on him. All right. All right. The horsey's pretty mane. And now this horsey needs some tack. He's actually going to be ridden. Going to have an actual bridle, not just a halter. And a saddle, which should come up here-ish. Saddle horn right there. Shoulders. Saddle, strap, stirrups. I'm sure I'm forgetting something vital, and the horse people will be mad at me. I'm not really a horse people. I'm sorry. All right, well, that's now at least an adequate horse. Adequate horse is adequate. At least it looks somewhat like a horse. I'm not going to try to convince you it's a great horse, but it's a horse. That one little part of his butt just looks a little too pronounced. The reference image of a horse that I got was like a super jacked horse. So, oh my God, go away, moth. No. Go find some other light source to pester. All right. Well, I got the tricky part done on that panel. Yeah, and just drawing that horse took almost as long as roughing in everything out on this page, everything else on this entire page. So that happens. Start filling in this space, trying to make it look more real. I'm not thrilled with this figure's gesture. Kind of want to move him closer. I feel like he's reaching really awkwardly far because like the horse's head should be like right there, and he's all the way over here, so he needs to be closer. He's going to scoot a little. And now he's at least a little bit closer. He doesn't quite look like he's reaching quite so far anymore, which is better. I don't need that giant eraser now. I need my little eraser. All right, his hand is right on there. Finishing getting the horsey right. Oops, I forgot reins. Whoopsie. Let's just get those tossed on up here. There we go. Those might be important. Turn those weird little wedge feet into actual feet. That foot looks wrong. Let's try that again. All right, that's better. Horse. All right, I think this over here was supposed to be a big pile of hay or something. We'll go with that, sure.
Whoops. Whoop, bad tangent. Nope. I'm going to say I'm going to put a support beam here to break up this space a little, but I don't want to make a tangent doing it. Let's fix that a little. That's better. All sorts of different stuff in this barn. See, the thing is that it's like, I know this space should be filled with stuff because a barn is a utility space and there should be all sorts of stuff in it because it's always full of tools and feed and animals and everything else. But I also want to not clutter this space up so much that it detracts from your speech balloons and your characters that are actually interacting on this page. So sometimes you end up with weirdly empty buildings and rooms and stuff just because it's like, well, I could put all the things there that should be there, or I could leave this composition cleaner so that you don't lose sight of what you're supposed to be looking at. And let's see. Yay! Also, I haven't had him around for quite some time. Haven't seen him since the end of chapter 20. I think. even though his feet are probably going to be covered by that word balloon, I'm not sure exactly where the edges of that are going to go. So we'll get them in there just in case. Just in case. I'm not sure where exactly that's going to go. All right, what time is it? It is 9:47. Oh boy. Making some progress. Almost done with this panel now. I've gotten all the figures in. Zeke and this horse, and this stable hand. Stable boy, attendant, kid, whatever. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of... I don't like that either. Goodness. Put a little ladder over in the corner here. Have like a harness over here. Just kind of make this look a little bit more populated. Entryway. To the barn. Now it looks like there's at least some stuff in this stable. Oh yeah, I still need to do this outside. So, let's see. We'll have this building. Like so. This building like so, right next to it. Chimney. Little, some cute building. All right. So that's the first panel finally done. And I've only got 9 minutes left. Goodness. All right. So while I pick away at this next one here, oh, I need to know what a horse looks like again, because I still don't know what a horse looks like. So while I consult with Google, I will remind people that, oh, that's a pretty horse. Sup, pretty horse. I'll remind people that you can subscribe to this channel so that you know when I'm doing these live streams, which is usually, as of right now, I tend to be doing them on Saturday nights at 9 Eastern. That may change in the future. I'm trying to figure out when a good time for people to actually be able to watch the stream is. Everybody's busy. Everybody's got lives. And I can't very well do it in times when my children are awake. So trying to find a good time that works for people actually getting to watch and me actually being able to do it. Yeah, this is kind of a tall order. But if you subscribe to the channel, then even if I'm not doing it at this precise time, you'll be able to be notified when I am doing it. And this comic page and pretty much all the other comic pages you see me working on this channel are for my webcomic, which is Age of Night, NIGHT.com. There'll be a link in this description of this video as well. So check that out. That's up to chapter 22. I just started posting chapter 22 online this past week, which means that this page 8 will be online in about 2 months, because it's one new page a week, which you can be pretty much guaranteed I'm going to do, because as you can see, I'm a good 2 months ahead right now. Not that things couldn't happen and life couldn't go nuclear or whatever on me, but generally speaking, I'm going to be updating basically every week with a new comic page. So go and check it out. Spread the word. Tell your friends if they like comics too to also go and check it out. I appreciate all the support. And also, if you really want to show support, you can also fund my Patreon. If you want to become a patron, you get to see comic pages a week early. So they're already on the Patreon. They're already on page 2 of chapter 22 instead of page 1 like everyone else. So that's a pretty cool perk. I guess that looks like a horse. It kind of looks more like a moose. Horse moose. This is what I get for living in Maine. I try to draw a horse and it looks like a moose. I don't know why it looks like a moose. I'm not sure what to do about that. Why does my horse look so moosey? Oh, goodness. Goodness. That didn't help. I don't know what's wrong here. I don't know why I have a horse moose. All right. But anyway. Yeah. To support the things. Go and like and share the things. You know how social media works. You're on YouTube. You know what you're supposed to do. You know what you're supposed to do to help the poor struggling artists who are struggling to pay the bills and also struggling to draw a horse.
Well, that nostril shape is wrong. That's not helping, I'm sure. I'm not sure that that helped any either, though. Why does it look like a moose? Did that help? Yeah, that kind of helped. Jaw was shaped wrong. Anyway, yeah, I'm almost done for tonight. This has been 45 minutes of Amanda struggling to draw a horse. Quality content right there. Get your tack on there, horsey. All right. Poor horse, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you look like this. I'll figure out my poor deformed horse one way or the other. Might need some fiddling. I'm thinking maybe the distance between the eyes and the nose are too short. I don't know. It just doesn't look right. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming and hanging out and watching the show. And if you left a comment, double super awesome thanks. You're awesome. So I've got the whole page roughed and one panel finished penciling and one panel started making a sad horse thing. So hopefully before this page is done, that horse will be less sad. All right. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me while I draw, and I'll see you all next week.